Hello everybody, welcome back to Glengineer, my YouTube channel. My name is Glenn. I'm the owner and founder of Glengineer, a 3D printing and modeling company. And today we will be talking about how I made my very own Partisan paint scheme X-Wing. So my dad got me heavily into Star Wars when I was a kid, and the first one he bought me was indeed this X-Wing. It's a 2002 Star Wars action fleet design. It's not the correct proportions, but when I was a kid, I went bananas for this, so it'll do for this. So it's been around my house for the last 20 years or so. I decided to find it and take it apart and paint it. For all you beginner painters out there, I am also a beginner painter, and this is my first time painting anything of this regard. So I'll be going through my process of what I did, and hopefully you take this as a bunch of tips and notes to use on your own when you do yours. I was gonna paint it just black and green like I do everything else because that's my favorite paint scheme, but I wanted to do something really different out of my wheelhouse, so I decided to look up some X-Wing paint schemes on Google, and I settled on a Partisan X-Wing. Apparently it was in Rogue One. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as we know. And I've never seen this before. Apparently it was in a still for the movie with one of the main characters on top of it. It was also in the back of one scene where the guy with the staff, I forgot his name, he fights a squadron of 5 stormtroopers. So it wasn't in there for long, and obviously you weren't paying attention to the X-Wing, you were paying attention to him beating all the stormtroopers. So you wouldn't have seen it. But it's in a lot of the stills, and it's predominantly in Rogue One. Nonetheless, I decided to give it a go because I've never done this before, so I thought this would be a good video for anyone who is just starting out painting their figures and you want to know what it's like for a first time painter like myself. So I'm going to walk you through how I did it and how long it took to do it. Let's get started. So I first started by painting the figure completely white with it still put together. But I ran into some issues such as reaching under the wings in some areas to make sure those parts were properly painted. So I decided to take it apart and paint the wings separately and the body separately. Next, after I was done with the white scheme, which took about 3 coats of paint, I decided to start masking off the black parts for paint. I was gonna use a pencil first just to outline it, but I thought that would introduce so much error because I can't draw straight lines to save my life. So I decided to use some masking tape, such as this, and cut it into certain shapes and whatnot to get the right sharp cuts and diagonals that I needed to make it stand out. And I then also masked off the white areas on the wing so that I could add the black accents to them as well. I would also advise getting some reference photos. I threw mine away, but that's always a good thing to do so you can see all the different sides, all the different tasks you have to manage while you're painting the figure. Next came painting the black accents on the X-Wing. It wasn't too hard, just had to make sure not to go outside the lines and use the tape where it needed to be. As you can see on some parts, it's not fully black, so I had to make sure to leave some white there to give it the same aesthetic I see it in the pictures. After I was done painting the black, I just had to put the X-Wing back together to see how it looked. I thought it looked pretty good, so after I removed the tape, I found that some spots were kind of had like overlapped or weren't completely straight. So I took a very, very fine paint brush and I went over it again in those certain areas to make sure the lines were clean and cut. I also painted R2-D2. Really hard because it's really small and my paint wasn't thin, so it's not the best job, but I like it for what it is worth. And at that point, I was done. Wait, Glenn, aren't you missing the main part of the X-Wing? Yes, the cannons. So I decided to 3D print the cannons, seeing as this is from 2002. I definitely had lost all of the cannons, so I 3D modeled and 3D printed some, and I printed them out and attached them to the body. I thought, as well as making the astromech custom, I wanted to make a custom pilot, so I 3D printed my own pilot design that I use on a lot of my other customs and builds. I painted him black and white to match the scheme. I guess I could have made him orange, but I thought it would be cooler if I made him more of an experimental pilot, like an experimental Rebel Forces kind of vibe. And there you have it. X-Wing Partisan is done. Was a lot of fun, yes. Would I do it again? No. Whenever I do one of these things, it's fun starting it, but it's always hard to finish it. I think that goes with any project people do. It took a lot out of me. It took about 3 days because I really wanted to paint the set in and look really good. The white took about like 3 or 4 coats, and then I wanted that to dry overnight. And then I came back and did the black for a day and let that dry, and then add all the other details I wanted to it. That was a lot of fun. I probably wouldn't do it again. If I were to do it again, I'd probably 3D print it in white and then do the black accents. That would cut down on some time instead of having to paint it white and paint it black. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for clicking on my video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Also, I'm on Facebook and social media, such as Instagram. And I do commissions as well as 3D prints. Thank you. May the force be with you always. Wait. Let me shout out to my family. Thank you so much for helping me and loving me and supporting me as much as you do.